No time to plot for standard lore. Welcome to the Worldbuilding podcast. So, today I have a expert on Hell who's probably visited it multiple times. Why don't you introduce yourself?
I am Wretched, or Wretched Lemming as most people know me as. I'm a variety streamer, and I like to cause chaos on a daily basis.
I like how you actually did do that. Because, I Joker yesterday, or a few days ago, when I had said to introduce himself, he actually did not do that.
Fair.
Yeah, so I also did it for him as well.
That's what I thought you meant by introduce yourself, so I just thought I'd do my streaming stuff as well, so...
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was intending. It'd be it is how do people find you, on YouTube and on Twitch?
Yeah, I'm on, well, not so much YouTube, but I am mainly on Twitch, Twitter, Blue Sky. All the same name, all the same username, so Wretched Lemming.
Alright, yeah. So, let's start off with, what do you know about Dante's Inferno? Anything about that you know?
I'm not really it's Dante's Inferno. It's are we talking about the video game or are we talking about the actual?
Either one. I would assume we're on the book.
To be honest with you, I don't really think I've read that book, to be fair.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's not on my typical reading list.
Okay, fair enough.
1 second, I'm gonna get some information up on it.
I already have the information. So, basically, the layers of hell from Dante's Inferno starts off with limbo for the non-baptized and virtuous pagans before Christ. There's lost land, being swept by violent wind and suffering from the heat of it. Gluttony after that, tormented by Cerberus and never-ending icy rain. And then there's greed, where you drag around heavy weights and boulders with your chest. Wrath, where it's the wrathful fighting, and basically there's heresy, where you're locked in flaming tombs. There's violence, where you're submerged in boiling blood and fire. Then there's fraud, with 10 ditches, is each hosting a different type of fraudulent sin. And then finally, there's treachery, home to those who betrayed others, where, for example, Lucifer, or rather Satan, is located as well. You got all that?
Yeah, near enough. I've got it on my end as well. I've got the list up.
Alright. So what do you know about the 9 hells? Other than the fact that there's 9 layers.
It depended on the variety of your punishment. I thought you get sent to different layers, don't you? So
actually, no. Yes,
really?
there is the river Styx, and it is the most expeditious way to go through the 9 hells. However, if you actually go and plane shift to the 9 hells, you're always going to be going to the Wrathful layer, which is Avernus, the Eternal Battlefield. So there you will actually find Tiamat and Zariel. Those are kind of the leaders of that plane, but it's basically just the Eternal Battlefield. So you know how I described what Luke saw from the Grim Reaper dragon, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was describing Avernus there.
Fair.
And so yeah, that's kind of the first layer of the 9 hells. Second layer of the 9 hells is Dis. There you would find a labyrinth of canyons with iron roads watched over by garrisons of iron forces. If you need to know about the major things there, Dispater is the Lord. He's a humanoid-looking individual with typical demon features, so think horns, arms, wings, and the tail. And then this is actually where a lot of the planar travelers have the hub. And so the Iron City on Dis is actually the main hub for the planar travelers. But you have to first get to Inverness, and then you can teleport to that Iron City of Dis. Making sense?
Yeah.
Alright. So next up after that, we have the third layer being Minotaurus, where acid rain on putrid bogs and decaying cities, cyclopean cities, ornately carved from stone, rise up from the bog, including Minotaurus, where the layer is actually named. The leader is Mammon, who resembles a horned lamia, and he will favor gold, believe it or not, instead of the typical souls. Gaining that so far? Like, keeping with it?
Yeah.
Alright. So, next up is... I'm probably going to butcher this name. Philgetos, where Obsidian Fortresses bask in the heat of raging infernos, raging volcanoes and magma rivers. And what was that?
I was gonna say maybe with that one, maybe put it in like spell it out on the screen when you edit it later.
I mean, like technically, I could just have it up on the actual like screen because like for the most part, I'm just reading it off from like the 9 hells in the rules basically, because like I've already read this before, basically. And so like they have the description, and I've also went down in the lower parts and gathered up some of the more interesting things. So on Philgetos, Abramoch is a fortress of obsidian and dark glass that resembles a sculpted centerpiece of gigantic hellish fountain. And believe it or not, on this one, we actually do have co-leaders. There's being Belial, a handsome, well, like he's handsome while his daughter is beautiful, but both resemble tieflings with red skin and small hordes, and they form a unbreakable alliance. And getting everything so far?
Yeah.
Okay, so next up, we okay, no, this is the 5th layer. So Stygia is Levitus's prison, and it's a frozen hellscape of jagged ice and cold fire. Levitus is actually encased in an ice as punishment for betraying Asmodeus, and is now forced to communicate telepathically. And there's also a serpent archdevil, Garon, who was dismissed for Levitus.
Yeah.
The next layer, so the 6th layer, is a ever-crumbling mountain with seemingly endless slope, crumbling fortresses, great caves carved into the mountain, and Ossetia is a citadel ruled by the leader, supported by cracked pillars and buttresses, that are sturdy yet about to collapse beneath. The palace is a labyrinth lined with cells, so some of your characters might be there as well. And Glacia confines and tortures those who displease her. This is also home to the imp Molish, plotting to regain Asmodeus' favor. And Glacia, for reference, is also Asmodeus' daughter. I'll get to Asmodeus a little bit. So far good on the first 6 layers, correct?
Yeah, all good.
Alright, so 7th layer, we get to Maladomi, where swarms of hungry flies plague dead cities on this ruin-covered wasteland. And, of course, who else would rule this area than Beelzebub, who conspires to usurp Asmodeus, and who's suspected to Asmodeus is suspected to respect Beelzebub as an adversary. Now we get into a lot more of the more interesting layers. So, Canadia is a ice-trapped city providing shelter for guests and prisoners in a realm cold enough to freeze your soul with ice storms that can tear flesh from bone. Mephistopheles dwells as a Mephistar, where he plots to seize the throne in the Nine Hells and conquer all the planes. And good enough on that so far?
Yeah, all good.
Mephistopheles is Asmodeus' greatest ally and enemy, where both wait to discover what circumstance might turn them against each other. Interesting enough, Mephistopheles is also a godfather of sorts to Glacia. He's tall, striking, and cool with impressive horns. He rarely gives any creature not worthy of his personal attention, and it is said that only Asmodeus has ever been deceived or thwarted by specifically Mephistopheles. Got all that?
Yep.
Alright. So, the final area. Nessus is the deepest pits with Asmodeus and mighty fortresses plotting conquest of the multiverse. Malashim is Asmodeus' home, where his fertile court lies. Asmodeus keeps the souls locked away for safekeeping, with steep prices for lease, possibly a whole kingdom. He often appears as a handsome bearded man with 4 horns, and Asmodeus, funny enough, is actually shown in the book. Right now I have it up on screen, and essentially like Asmodeus but for those that can't see it, if anybody can't, he is a handsome bearded man with 4 large horns, piercing red eyes, and flowing robes, who can assume other forms and sometimes has a ruby-tipped scepter. I definitely do know that Delph would probably be into Asmodeus, I'll be real.
That wouldn't surprise me either, to be honest.
You were kind of distant there, sir.
Yeah, I was just saying, it wouldn't surprise me either.
Yeah, it definitely seems like something up her alley. He seems warm and pleasant and lighthearted, doling out wisdom and small acts of kindness for reference. The ultimate can only actually be seen when he wills it, or flies into a rage. So, do you need to know the hierarchy, or are you kind of good on that too?
Kind of good on that.
Alright then. So, I just wanted to make sure on that. So, I wanted to bring you in to, like I said, talk about the 9 hells. Specifically about, like, what do all the layers mean? And what might you actually, like encounter other than that? Okay. Hold on. Alright. So, anything you want to kind of have it be known about the 9 hells originally? Or any other questions you have?
Not what I can think of right now, to be fair.
Fair. And good, because as I told you basically all the information on the 9 hells.
Yeah.
At least this is all official things. So anything else that we do past this is all basically like in line with, I guess, what they want. Because they want now a lot more to have it be that DMs kind of decide how this all works. So, for example, with my version of the 9 hells, I will say that the first layer is where you shift to. Mainly because, if I recall correctly with the 9 hells, it does specifically list that Avernus is actually the only place that you can teleport to. And so, yeah. Like, basically, like, it says, like, as the first line, by Asmodeus' orders, no player portals connect directly to the lower layers of the 9 hells. It is, like, Avernus is the arrival point for our visitors. So, there's that. Now, technically that does mean that, like, to a certain extent, we could go and say that if you've at least visited Dis, then you could possibly shift to Dis, or rather, you could
Hmm.
technically plane shift to Dis. But it kind of is as like, how do we want to rule on that? Like, do you say demons might be more wanting to meet people that can plane shift, or do you say that like they want to at least know that you can cast like two 7th level spells or use like a 8th level spell as well?
Also, maybe plane shift sounds a lot more realistic. I would say, but me personally, at least, anyways.
You will have to use plane shift to go and get to the 9 house anyway. I'm just asking, like,
Yeah,
should we require both plane shift and teleport, or just plane shift basically to get to like
I think just
get?
yeah, I think just plane shift should be more feasible for doing that instead of teleportation because I think with teleportation you've got to be been to a certain place before you like
Actually, I
can just
believe that with
teleport there.
teleport you don't have to be. It's just that it's
I
a
thought
lot more
you would have
short.
had to. Hmm. I thought you'd
Yeah,
had to been to a place before you actually teleported there.
no, no. So basically, like, how teleport works is it depends on your familiarity. So if you're going to a permanent circle or associated object, you are guaranteed to be on target. If you're very
Hmm.
familiar with the place, then like just don't roll 1 to 5. If you're doing a 6 to 13, it'll be a similar area. 14 to 24 will be off target, and 25 or higher will be on target. If you've seen it casually, then it's 54. Off target is 44 to 53. Similar is 34 to 43, and a mishap is a lot more likely at 1 to 33. If you viewed it
But
once, yeah, like viewing it once or having a description, and then a mishap will be very likely at 1 to 43. A similar area would be 44 to 53. Off target would be 54 to 73. And on target will be 74 to 100. And so by technicality, like you don't actually have to be very familiar or know that it exists, as long as you have at least the description. Now, if it's a false
hmm.
destination, you're just going to have a mishap probably because it's 1 to 50, or it's going to be a similar area at like 51 to 100. But you're not going to be
Uh,
like off target or on target for a false destination. Um, so you're saying that the rules should be like I portals of the portals even that of Cubic Gate uh, go to Avernus, but plane shift is possible, correct?
yeah.
All
Yup.
right. Uh, so like I said, there's not a lot of rules for, or at least not a lot of known rules for the
Yeah.
Night House. So, what do you say
Oh,
should
you know
be
what?
other
Okay.
rules?
I was going to say, like, obviously, if you fail on teleportation, I think what might be a fun punishment is like if you fail, like if you have a mishap, you get teleported to like the first layer of the hells, or like a random layer, possibly.
Keep in mind that's teleport, not actually like plane shift. I'm gonna get plane shift up for
Yeah.
you. But like I think plane shift is more just more that like you have to be like yeah, like it's similar in the fact that you can go and do like 8 people. Uh
Mm.
but like also for reference with plane shift, you have to find find a Fortma rod. At least is 2050 GP, and it has to be attuned to a particular plane of existence. And
Fair.
but that said, though, like you can specify the general target, such as like on the elemental plane of fire, you can actually do like the city of brass and have it be like going there directly. Uh, uh, or rather, like you'll appear near or in it. So basically, like the city of brass, as you might be like the city of steel before the gates of ash, or looking at the city from across the sea of fire. It just depends on how I feel at that point. Like for example, if you go and try to go to the Palace of Dissipator on the second level of hell, you will probably be in the Iron City, but like don't expect to be like in the actual palace itself.
Yeah.
That'll
just be too OP.
Yeah. So like for reference, it will actually be like even with a plane shift, it still will be a pain to get to the 9 hells, basically.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So yeah. I still will say that with the plane shift, that like you would have to at least have visited the other ones. So like for example, like your first plane shift would go to Advernus, so you have to either like teleport or down to like the second layer, or you'll have to do like the river Styx, for example.
Yeah.
That
you
sounds
can't just
fair.
like go there straight away. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that makes more sense doing it that way.
Yeah, because that's what I was doing. That's what I was thinking originally. At least that like I for the most part like you can teleport to the second layer, but after that like you have to start getting like approval after that. So like you have to get like Dissipator, for example, can give you approval to visit the lower one. But like I would say that Mephistopheles from Cania, Cania, actually like I would say that he would probably be able to like work with Asmodeus to see about whether or not you should be allowed to the bottom. To the bottom layer. Because for the most part, I feel like everybody in the 9 house kind of work slightly together. I mean, yeah, they kind of like go against each other and stuff like that. But like, if you're enough of a problem, I do say that like, yeah, they might be a little bit more willing to be like, okay, yeah, you can go to the third layer. Get out of here. Or at least in Dissipator's case, it would be to the third layer and get out of here.
Especially to one of my players as well.
You mean one of your characters, sir?
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah. Anyway, any other rules? What?
I can see that, especially with Florida Man as well.
Fair, yeah. Any other rules you say should work for this character? Or for this plane?
Maybe every single roll's at a disadvantage, like spells and stuff, possibly.
I wouldn't necessarily say that, but like they did talk about a hierarchy. Let me get back up to a hierarchy because I feel like having disadvantage on spells against a certain type would actually be fair. Because like I don't say that like for example that the Lemur or the imps, which are like the Lemur are the least devils, and then like the imp is like the second lowest level, basically. Like I don't say that those technically should be like there. Uh, um. So for reference, they have the least devils, the lesser devils, the greater devils, and then the archdevils. Like, is there a specific rating threshold that should probably like get that spell save?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Least devils, lesser devils, greater devils, and archdevils. It's because
Okay.
like you talked about the disadvantage on spells.
Yeah.
Against like
I think especially against those types of beings as well.
well, yeah, but I'm referring to like which level basically. Like which level do you have to be to get the protection? Because I can also break down the greater devils and the arch devils. Technically, also lesser devils.
I
Too.
think maybe it would make sense for if you're a lower level than an archdevil, then you'd have disadvantage.
I mean, the main issue though, with that is not a lot of the archdevils of the Nine Hells actually have stat blocks for reference.
Ah, fair.
They're not
What would
like
you recommend then?
I don't know. Like I was about to go and say that they're not like the abyss creatures, where like, for example, like Baphomet, right? Like he's
Yeah.
actually a from the abyss, and so he directly has a stat block, specifically being an 23rd or CR 23.
Okay.
So yeah, like I really do wish that they had that, but like the only devil that really has a stat block is actually, believe it or not, like Zariel. Actually, I guess that technically there's Tiamat too. Like Tiamat and Zariel are the only two that actually have specific stat blocks for them. But also like there's an entire book dedicated to Avernus, and both Tiamat and Zariel are like in Avernus. Technically, Tiamat has her own like separate adventure for that. But like it is what it is. So yeah,
Fair.
I guess
we'll have to do.
Sorry,
I
go.
think we'll have to do a bit more research into that, to be able to make it so it's what will have it and what won't have the disadvantage rolls.
I mean, I do definitely say the archdevils basically is like the leaders of the areas, because like they do kind of control like their own layers.
Everything, yeah.
No, I wouldn't say necessarily everything. The main one that actually like does control everything would be Asmodeus. So like, and nothing else. Like when if you're fighting Asmodeus in the Nine Hells, like you are definitely probably having disadvantage on spells, basically, and he's probably having advantage on spells.
Stupidly high level.
Well, I say that Asmodeus probably has like both the disadvantage that you guys would go and be given, and then like spellcasters just like are a lot less effective, because if they need a saving throw, Asmodeus would probably have advantage on that saving throw.
Yeah. And you would have like disadvantage on the saving throw as well, unless you got inspiration somehow.
I mean, I would say not really on the you guys have disadvantage. It's because like a saving throw is just a flat DC. So like basically to get, for example, with like your character, or like actually Wretched 3. Where Wretched 2 is, I don't know, but we have a Wretched 3. But yeah, like his spell save is from his charisma, because like he mainly is like a warlock. Technically he does have int, but yeah, like it's a 12 or 13 as a DC for, or like Wretched 3. And effectively, in either case, like, if he has any sort of spell save DC, then yeah, it's just going to automatically like it's just going to be like, oh hey, yeah, it's a flat whatever depending on whether he's using Arcane Trickster or Warlock. So yeah, kind of depends about like what spell is being casted on whether it's like a disadvantage on you guys or advantage on Asmodeus, basically. But either way, you're less likely to affect him with spells.
Yeah. Obviously, I think as well, maybe it's like if it should be like if he's got proficiency in one spell rather than like, every single spell possibly.
I mean, I wouldn't say necessarily that he can cast every spell, but he at least has like resistance technically to like every spell. Because like you're fighting him in his domain for reference.
Yeah.
So like for reference, this wouldn't be too much on his stat block, but this is if you guys were trying to take over the 9 hells, and so you guys have managed to get down through the River Styx into Necessus, and then manage to get to where you're fighting Asmodeus. So like in theory, since he controls the rules on the 9 hells, you're not likely to be winning that fight, really. You're probably going to be forced to run away. And so, like, if, for example, you get him to be out of the 9 hells, like, in the, like, material plane and stuff like that, then he's probably going to lose, the advantage on saving throws. He would probably lose well, you guys wouldn't have disadvantage on the spell attacks and stuff like that. So like, oh, he also probably not have the resistance to the spells. Like, these things are a lot more due to the fact that they are magical things, and so the ruler of the plane can decide about how the magic kind of works on the planes. And since Asmodeus is the ruler, he could probably, like, I would say that he probably would decide that, like, this is how it actually, like, works. Making sense?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Alright. I'm going to list in that they have advantage on saving throws, because I forgot to list that. Actually, I should list that Archdevil specifically. Because, like, yeah. It is what it is. Any other rules that you say should probably happen?
Obviously we covered the disadvantage one. I actually can't really think of any more rules. That was the only rule that I thought would be good, for in the nine hells.
Fair. I mean, technically, like, if we don't have any more rules for the 9 hells, we still can continue. It's just that then we're talking a lot more about, like, what might, where might people be going, basically, based off of, like, kind of how were they. So, any, like, just playing out ideas, like, at the start of it, or do you need to, like, have time possibly to think of some more?
I think I need some time to think some more.
Alright. Well, we still have not gotten to that hour mark, so I say that we can probably just, like, start talking through it a bit. So, do you need a refresher on the layers from Dante's Inferno, basically, and like where some of them might actually be closest to in the Nine Hells?
One sec, I can get the list that I had up again.
All right. So, I mean, to be fair, I do have a bit of them if you want to see about like where I'm thinking some of these are going.
Yeah.
So,
Also, yeah.
Wrath is a easy one. It's obviously Avernus. Like from Dante's Inferno, it talks about the wrathful fighting, and so like
I know where the bards will end up.
Are you really sure about that? Because there's no real like lust one here by technicality. So like
say the one that I've got has got lust in it, but obviously the one that we're going through for D&D is
yeah. Like when we're talking about like the Dante's Inferno list, like yeah, like we can definitely get the ideas of where some people are going. But like for example, like Dante's Inferno, we have the what layer would that be?
What lust?
No, we would have the 5th layer be the first layer from D&D. So
Okay,
like
yeah.
just simply because like we know the Dante's Inferno layer doesn't mean like oh yeah like they're obviously on the 5th layer of hell because the 5th layer of hell is now changed slightly. Um, obviously, some layers might not actually have people that specifically do it. Like maybe some layers are actually there specifically to actually just hold people. Because like Necessus, for example, is a person. However, that said, though, since it is the deepest layer, I would think that those that are treacherous, effectively, are probably most likely to be in Necessus, effectively. Both so that they can help him plot Conquest of the Multiverse, but also for the sake of the imprisonment and just the general Infernal Court. Sound about right?
Yeah.
Alright. So, for fraud, it talks about in Dante's Inferno, it talks about 10 ditches, each housing a different type of fraudulent sin. So, the thing that jumps out to me with that is this has a labyrinth of canyons. And so that's a good target as well. However, that said, it also is stated that Malaboj is a ever-crumbling mountain. And so that might be a good part as well. Which one do you say is more fitting?
I'd say the one that you said.
I said 2.
The first one.
So then this.
Yes.
Okay. So fraudsters are more likely to be on dis. Got it. So violence is to be submerged in boiling blood and fire. Well, the closest that I can gather is Philogethos, where they have the Raging Infernos and Magma Rivers. So that what do you think about that? You say that there's a different layer that's more fitting, or just like Villagethos?
No, I think that suits it quite well.
Alright, so violet people prone to violence, such as like red dragons, are more than likely going to become demons on Villagethos. Then we have Heresy being locked in Flaming Tombs. That one again, it's kind of it's kind of an odd one because it could be a Maladami where like you have the ruins covered wasteland and like swarms of hungry flies, for example. The other one that jumps out
Mm.
to me on that is also Minotauros, where there's acid rain and putrid bogs in decaying cities. Because, like, with the heresy, as far as what I could tell, it was kind of just like a little bit more about you being locked up and having suffering, basically. Uh, and so, like,
Mm.
to me, those two layers kind of like seem like you're trapped effectively. But I'm not sure about whether or not they would be fitting for like the entrapment type thing.
Fair.
Because
Uh,
yeah, go ahead.
Obviously, yeah, I think the entrapment type thing suits it well, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but like basically the main ways for entrapment is Canadia, and then technically also Malaboj go and deal with entrapment.
Hmm.
Because like Malaboj, right? Like it's an ever crumbling, and so like if you're not in a city, basically, such as like a Ossetia, uh,
Mm.
at any point you might have a rock slide just like come down right on top of you, as you're like on the layer.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, that I think that's the best one for it. To be fair.
okay, so you're saying that the Malaboj is for heresy.
Yeah.
Mm, I'll put a
Obviously, it's
pin
your
in that.
decision.
Uh,
Yeah, obviously, it's your decision at the end of the day as well.
I mean, the main reason why I bring in people for these is to kind of like talk with them, and so like we kind of get more ideas and kind of get a
Yeah.
little bit more agreement on it. Because like I do kind of want all these layers to have a different one, and so like I'm at least putting a pin in on that one because
Mm.
maybe by going through some of the other ones we decide like, you know what, Malbudge actually is more of a different thing. And
Yeah.
because we do have 4 more layers left and 4 more ones to decide about where people are going.
Yeah.
So, next up, we have Greed, where they're tormented. They drag heavy weights and boulders with chests. So this was the one that I actually thought immediately for, with like Malabudge. But also by technicality, if you're going by Greed, like Minotauros does have like Mammon, who's like obsessed
Mm.
with greed. Uh, but I can also see about a case being made for that because like if you're a greedy person, right? Like you're obviously going to be wanting a bunch of the wealth, and so uh, you may not want other greedy people to be like heading there or to kind of like steal the gold.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, what do you think about that? Uh,
Um, that's a difficult one, obviously. I think definitely the ones with the chests, like where you drag in the chests or whatever it's called, boulders with chests or whatever you said it was.
well, that's for Dante's Inferno. Uh, so, uh, the one that kind of jumps out to me as a place where you might drag heavy weights or boulders with your chest is actually Malaboj, where, like I said, there's the crumbling mountain and the endless
Mm.
slope, the crumbling fortresses and great caves carved into the mountain, etc., etc. So it just kind of, it to me, it kind of fits there. Uh,
Yeah, I'd say that would fit more there.
so do you want to say that Heresy is a different place, or do we want to say like, yeah, it's fine to be there too?
Maybe it could be both, to be fair.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, by technicality, there's nothing saying that like we can't place things on multiple things. And it's like, for example, like Greek could also be on Minotauros as well. And so people that
Mm.
have like a a complex with greed, maybe for a little bit more of an opinion, like for example, a person that's greedy, right? But is greedy because they're trying to help the world and they understand that they need money for that. Uh, like maybe that person's on the lower or yeah, maybe they're on the lower tier. Uh, but somebody
Mm.
that's just greedy because of the greed itself, like a red dragon, is on the lower one.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds more. Yeah, because it doesn't, like you said, it's like it could be both things. So I think that would be better.
So do you say there's a different layer that greed should be on?
Um,
Because to be fair, just because Dante's Inferno has to be that greed is dragging around heavy weights and boulders with chests, doesn't mean that the D&D one has to have that. In fact, that's probably not
yeah,
going to
I
be the
think
case.
I think it should. I think it should be on a lower one. 1 second, Discord wants me to update. It's screaming at me to update.
I mean, I was more referring to the fact that like I with D&D, right? Like I there's nothing saying that we can't have like greed on multiple layers, basically. Uh, such as like a lesser greedy person is on the third layer, whereas like somebody that's super greedy is on the sixth layer. As he's back. So yeah. Okay, so how
Hello.
much of that did you hear?
I heard the multiple layers bit.
Yeah, I was saying like there's by technicality with D&D, there's nothing saying that like a lesser greedy person can't be on like say the third layer, where they're like greedy, yes, but they're more greedy for like trying to help the world, basically type thing.
Yeah,
And
I think that makes more sense. To be fair.
yeah, um, but like I said, where would be like would greed be more fitting? Well, be fitting on a different layer.
Oh yeah, I think it will definitely be fitting on a different layer.
Which layer then, sir?
Maybe like say the second layer.
Really, where we have the fraudsters and the labyrinth of canyons with iron roads.
Yeah, because it makes fraudsters and greed go hand in hand, really, don't they?
I mean, fair, but also like there's a very greedy individual that leads the third layer.
Exactly. So the fraudsters would have to fight him. Turf war.
Sir, the fraudsters are on the second layer. They're not on the third layer yet. So where are you adding greed to? Or saying we should add greed to?
um, so maybe the first layer, I think.
No, definitely not the first layer, sir. The first layers are all-out battlefield, like always. Like it's an eternal battlefield. Why would the greedy people be over on a battlefield?
Profit in war.
People on that place would murder them with the weapons that they sold. Like it's literally just like, hi, do you want to buy this weapon? Sure. That'll be 5 gold. Pays 5 gold. Takes weapon. Stabs merchant. Steals back 5 gold. That's literally what happens on the first layer, sir. If the merchant was there.
It fits.
No.
I maybe on the 4th layer, possibly.
So the area that has raging volcanoes and magma rivers.
Yes.
Is okay. Not too sure about that one as well, but in it is. So we're talking about adding things to multiple layers. What about? Do you want to revisit heresy?
I think we'll need to come back to that one. I think because it.
Do you want to revisit violence or fraud? Because I definitely do say that treachery should be on necessus, so like the lowest layer.
Well, I think the violence one should be on the first one because obviously the first layer because it's a all-out battlefield, isn't it? So
you're saying both? Yeah, you're saying so both the first layer and the 4th layer, right? For the fact that the
yes,
violence in Dante's is submerging boiling blood and fire.
yeah.
Heresy, just to remind you, is being locked in flaming tombs. So anything that fits the bill, because Canada isn't really a fiery place, but it is a very trapping place, similar to Malaboj as well.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
if you want to be
I think
technical,
that
like
sounds about right.
if you want to be technical, Minotaurus could also be a entrapment area for the fact of the acid rain thing.
Fair.
What are you thinking with adding heresy to? Because both of the layers that
The
I've
acid rain.
said we don't have anything for yet.
Yeah, I think the acid rain plays for heresy.
Okay, so right where Mammon is. Alright. Then to go back to things that we've not discussed. Gluttony. So just to remind you, these people were, according to Dante, supposed to be tormented by Cerberus in a never-ending icy rain. So the ones that jump out to me is Stygia, where it's a frozen hellscape of jagged ice and cold fire. The other one is Kenya, where it's basically ice trapped cities, and like I said, it's a realm coordinate to freeze is a soul with ice storms that can tear flesh from bone. So, what do you think?
Yeah, I think the Ice City one for Gluttony.
So the 8th layer, Kenya, right?
Yep.
Do you say that Gluttony should be on a different layer?
Yeah, I think it should be on a different layer.
Okay, so you're saying that it shouldn't be on Canada.
No.
Alright, so where do you say the icy, never-ending icy rain and while being tormented by Cerberus place should be?
What were the remaining two ones that we haven't done yet? Gluttony and
So we have Gluttony, Lust, and Limbo. So, basically, like, Limbo for reference is like where the non-baptized virtuous pagans were. Well, the virtuous pagans who died before Christ and then the non-baptized. At least according to Dante's Inferno, like I said. Uh, Other people can have their own religion and they can have their own things. And I'm just using Dante's Inferno to kind of help decide about where people might have gone.
yeah.
At least in the 9 hours
Um,
type reason.
maybe.
The layers we currently don't have anything for is Stygia, Maladami, and Ganadia. Maladami, where swarms of hungry flies plague dead cities in a ruin-covered wasteland.
That sounds like it could be good for gluttony.
Really?
Yeah.
Alright. I don't really know about that, but anything else?
We can put a pin in it.
I mean, yeah, like I said, it's like anything that I'm a little bit more unsure on. I'm just putting a pin in, or marking with a question mark.
Yeah. To be honest with you, I don't really know. I can't really think of anything.
Alright, so then let's just move on to Lust, where, according to Dante's Inferno, they were swept by violent winds and suffering from the heat of it. So, there's not really a area where that can be besides, like, Philogetos. But it does seem like it's kind of talking about, like, Canada. Or rather the opposite temperature of Canada. Or Canada.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I think that could be good for Canada, that one.
Alright. I don't have an issue with that. And so where should do you say that we should have a different area for Lust, or just place them all on the 8th layer?
Yeah, just place it all on the 8th layer.
Okay. So where should the non-baptized virtuous pagans before Christ go? So this one, the thing that jumped out to me, funny enough, was actually like this. But like, I'm totally at a loss with this one. And the only one that we don't have anything for is Stygia, Levitus's prison, and a frigid hellscape of jagged ice and cold fire. But to be fair, we could also just have it be that, like, since there's multiple gods of the multiverse, that like, that the non-baptized just don't go to anywhere, or they go to the actual plane Limbo.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea, to be fair. That's what I was thinking with that one.
Alright.
I actually agree with that one.
Alright, so let's say it's a different plane than Limbo. So, I do kind of want the, I do kind of want Stygia to have something. And what do you say would fit Stygia the most?
Sorry, what was that?
What do you say would fit the prison that is a frigid hellscape of jagged ice and cold fire?
I wouldn't know, to be honest with you.
Well, you have a list of the Dante's Inferno's layers, right?
Yeah.
Uh, well, what
One sec. Sorry,
things?
my
Yeah, I was gonna say like what seems to be fitting for those,
um.
or fitting for like the frigid hellscape thing.
I would not. I can't. Nothing's jumping out to me, to be honest with you.
Well, kind of the things that jump out to me is like I the based off of the icy rain part are gluttony actually. As for if I
Hmm.
had to say something other than gluttony, the only thing that jumps to mind might be a like treachery, basically just due to the fact of like uh it kind of being a like frozen prison type thing. So like
Hmm.
it might make sense that somebody that is like trying to do like specific things would actually like I yeah basically just like I people that are treacherous might gotta be like sent there effectively.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
So you're saying that the treacherous people, or the slightly treacherous people, should go to Stygia, when the truly treacherous ones should go to Asmodeus.
Yeah, sounds that sounds about right.
All right. So do we want to discuss the ones that we've put in pin in, or possibly come back later and talk about like other things such as like the abyss as we finish off like the nine hells, or talk about like the abyss if we finish off the nine hells or something.
I think we'll come back to those later. Uh, I think my internet is slowly dying on me
All
right
right,
now. I think because of the got bad weather.
fair enough. Do you want to talk about anything other than just the rules and the sense of people going to the various layers, or we just like I kind of done for now?
Hmm. I think kind of done for now because my internet is struggling because I've got obviously I'm modding as well, so that's struggling to be in both VC and Discord.
Fair enough. Yeah. Uh,
Yeah,
all right.
so I
So
think that is good for now. We've gone past the hour mark, haven't
yeah.
we?
Uh,
Slightly.
yeah. So like, I do actually have something to talk to you as well, more personally. So I'll
Hmm.
go. We'll end this first. So once again,
Hmm.
where can people find you again?
Obviously they can find me on Twitch, YouTube, Twitter. Yeah.
Yep. At what? Just for reference again, just in case people skip through it. Sorry.
Uh, yeah. So it's Reggie Lemming. So you can find me on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and Blue Sky. All the same username.
Fair enough. Uh, as for me, I'm usually listed as like a Gordon fan, like you might see on YouTube, or you are Gordon underscore fan 42. Uh, I will yap a lot like this as over on Twitch as well. If you want to see me yap about things that are not D&D, there's a lot of times you can get me to go and have an absolute field day, but I do G&D here because it lets me talk with my friends, and also we just generally have a lot more to talk about. But yeah, uh, with all that said, that's what we have for the Nine Hells right now. We'll probably come back to this at some point. When, I don't know. Should be a fun time. However, uh, we do hope that you have a fun time game mastering, and ultimately, hopefully, you can all use this to run on some fantastically enjoyable games. So I'm sure that my players have fun, but they're not being paranoid, right?
I'll neither say nor deny.
And with that, new episodes of this should be uploaded every Saturday. So hopefully you tune in next week for whatever we have done. It may be actually more Arya Foundation with Joker. We'll see. Maybe it's a different thing. But you'll have to tune in and next week to find out.